Today on New England Living, we'll introduce you to the world of container farming and learn about the Boston-based company leading the way. Then it's off to Concord, New Hampshire for a one-of-a-kind rail biking adventure. Plus, from Boston to Peru, we'll meet the woman creating knitwear and jobs for women around the world. And we're back in our test kitchen cooking up fresh scallops with executive chef Matt King. It all starts right now on New England Living. New England has a style all its own. The people, the history, the culture. Join us as we discover the faces and places, the design and destinations, everyone and everything that makes New England extraordinary. This is getting a little spicy. Love the place you call home with New England Living. Thanks for joining us on New England Living. I'm Rachel Holt. They're changing the way the world grows its food, and they're based right here in Boston. Welcome to the future of farming. John Friedman is co-founder of Freight Farms, the world's leading manufacturer of container farming technology. And John, we're actually standing in a container farm, so first and foremost, what is this?
Well, this is the greenery, and you are in a shipping container that is underneath an overpass. This is the most advanced vertical farming application out there. The plant rows are actually dynamic, so they can be moved to create enough space for a wide variety of crops. So we do lettuces, herbs, brassicas, we do root vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, things like flowers, as you can see.
So what are the advantages of farming in a shipping container?
Well, one of the big barriers to entry for anybody looking to get into farming is land. And where is that land? What part of the world is that land in? So taking out the environmental constraints and the space constraint, in this farm we can actually grow over an acre of produce a year.
And each freight farm can produce its own unique ecosystem.
We control the water temperature, the water pH, the CO2, the airflow, humidity, the lights, and the great thing is we can really control that all through the cloud on your phone.
And I imagine somewhere like New England, where there are seasonal temperatures, this is especially beneficial because you can grow plants and crops and flowers year-round.
That's right. So New England is a really great spot for something like this because it's got the seasonal changes make it really hard to grow things like this. But I think we all really want that fresh farm-to-table experience, and this really brings it right on site.
And you tried to tell me that someone like me can actually own one of these. I don't need any experience. Is that actually true?
That is definitely true. We've got folks who are in elementary school running farms. We have folks who are moving into retirement looking to get into farming. So it's really not limited to people who have agriculture or farming background.
You can definitely do it. It's not a question of starting a farm, it's really starting a business.
Sean Cooney used to run software companies. Now he runs Cornerstock Farm, a collection of freight farm containers in East Boston.
A lot of it's very much like a regular farm. We buy some seeds from a nice seed supplier and have basically gone through lots and lots of variations of which produce to grow, looking at what people will buy.
Urban farming also offers local chefs a much wider variety of produce to choose from.
They're looking for something unique. They're looking for something on your menu that they can't get through the normal supply chain, or they're looking for a little bit more control and safety. If you're looking to add a new product to the market, you can take something that maybe is a really common plant, but you can actually tune it different ways based on its environmental response.
Chef Eric Cooper of Forage in Cambridge works year-round with local farmers like Sean.
We strive to use as much local produce as possible, and here in Boston in the wintertime, when you want something like fresh greens, that can be pretty challenging. I can get plenty of root vegetables year-round. I can get things like cabbage and kale, but a beautiful, light, delicate salad green like Sean's lettuces, that's pretty tough.
We come to Forage pretty much once a week, and we drop off 4 or 5 cases of lettuce to them, and it's on their menu pretty much every day. They can plan what they can get from us. They'll know that they'll be able to get the same quality of product year-round.
Freight Farms and Sean, they're able to give me a consistent product. I know exactly what I'm getting every week. He brings me special things that nobody else is bringing me, like wasabi arugula or beautiful fresh marjoram in the middle of the winter. We do a lot of preservation, and we try to find a lot of ways to bring fresh flavors in the winter, but nothing compares to having that fresh, bright, crispy green on the plate.
There's a lot of local demand for fresh, pesticide-free, herbicide-free produce that they know where it came from. They want to know the farmer. So places like your farmer's market, people who are making CSA crop sharing programs, and also grocery stores. Right now we have the largest network of farmers around the world, and we want to keep on growing that network so that more people see this as a path forward for fresh food supply.
Up next, part bike tour, part train ride. We're heading out on a stretch of railroad track along New Hampshire's Merrimack River for a truly unique experience that's giving new meaning to rail travel. Scenic Rail Riders was founded just last year by Massachusetts native Gary LeBlanc.
Scenic Rail Riders, we ride four-wheel bicycles on the railroad tracks. We have 2-seat models and 4-seat models. We can connect the bikes together, so if we have a group of people, we allow them to travel as one unit, almost similar to a train going down the tracks. Our rail bikes are all custom made by myself and my family. The bikes are all made out of aluminum, stainless steel axles. The bikes are very easy to pedal. Our wheels are custom made specifically for my company. I had a mold made and we have the wheels bonded to an automotive rim. They fit to the bike. I built this so that people can enjoy something different. It's unique, there's not many of these around.
Rail biking is so unique. According to Gary, there are less than 20 companies doing it across the U.S. and just a handful in New England.
Riding bikes on the railroad tracks. I certainly enjoy doing it, and I figured a lot of other people would as well.
Gary's wife, Carolyn, also helps run the family business.
To find an actual abandoned rail line that's usable was really hard. So we were lucky to find this place, this beautiful spot in Concord, New Hampshire. With his efforts and ingenuity and engineering, he was able to create these wonderful bikes and create a great way for people to explore this area. You know, it was just a great way to kind of have a family business.
And that's really what's made the business a success, is they're all willing to chip in where I need them to help. Thankfully, that's made it work.
All right, since we're all ready to go, we'll load up on the bikes and then we're ready to have a good day. All right, guys? Let's do it.
After a friendly welcome and a quick tutorial from Gary and Caroline's youngest son, Ethan, it was time to hop on a bike and try this out for myself. Off we go!
When we leave the station, we go into a really wooded area that has the beautiful Merrimack River on one side and ponds and lake on the other.
We have the river views, we have pastures, and we have cows. We have a couple of bridges we go over. There's a lot to offer. You're not just riding through the woods.
This is really cool. We're going over the bridge, over the Merrimack River, and it is absolutely gorgeous out here.
It's 3¼ miles of track, so 6.4 miles round trip. It usually takes about an hour and 50 minutes to complete the round trip.
All right, there's Gary's son. He's holding up traffic for us. Thank you so much. Along with the spectacular views, the ride comes with a bit of history too. These rails are the last remaining section of the original Northern Railroad line, first built in 1846.
We find that people usually travel about 8 to 12 miles an hour is typical speed. We always tell people, you know, this is not a race. It's meant to be a leisurely pedal. We advise people keep space between you and the bike in front of you. We don't want anyone to feel rushed as they're pedaling. We want people to be able to pedal at their own speed.
So we are approaching the turnaround, and what that means is we're gonna hop off the bikes, we're gonna head back the other way, because we have a lot more to see. Sending the bikes back around in the other direction was actually one of Gary's biggest challenges.
So we needed a way to turn them around because these bikes are far too heavy to pick them up and turn them around by hand. So we had to come up with a turntable. We can just take the bikes, load them on there, and just give it a shove, and it'll just keep spinning.
When we turn the bikes around, come on back to the station, we cross over Stools Falls Road, which is where we're located. It's another 2 miles to this location where you're going to pass cornfields and Morel's Dairy Farm, where you can see all the beautiful cows and all the little calves and things like that.
So obviously we need to stop here and meet some of the locals. Look at all of these cows. With a newfound appreciation for nature and rail travel, it was time to bring this adventure back to the station.
All the comments I get from everybody who's done it is they love it. It's a unique thing to do. I'm looking to make it a rewarding experience for the family, and also, you know, hopefully an activity that the public will really kind of draw to and enjoy.
Coming up after the break, with a playful name and a powerful mission, we'll meet the woman turning a Boston-based company into a global fashion brand when New England Living returns. Coming up next, meet the person empowering women across the globe through knitting. Christina Party is founder and chief knitting officer of a booming fashion accessories brand based here in New England. So the name of your brand, I actually can't even say it on TV, but it makes all of us giggle. Why the name?
It was actually started in college. I was knitting a lot and my sisters were making fun of me and said I should start a website with our name, and so I did. I bought the domain on GoDaddy and started a really bad WordPress blog, and so it stuck.
So you started your business in 2014 selling hats here, and just walk me through the journey to where you are today.
Yeah, so we started at SOA in the South End selling hats in October of 2014, and that went really well. From there, we couldn't really keep up with demand. We had a team of women in Boston knitting for us for a season, and that wasn't really keeping up either, so we scaled to working with a team of amazing women in Lima, Peru, who can all knit from home and take care of their kids. We make all of our yarn down there, so it made a ton of sense to go down to Lima. We've been working with them for 3 years, and here we are in Alston.
And how does it make you feel to know that you're changing lives of women around the world?
It's pretty crazy, and it wasn't really what I intended to do. I didn't know that we'd wind up there, so for me to go down and hear the stories of how the financial independence enabled a woman to send her kids to university, or the way the knitting group inspired them to get together as women and support each other, it's sort of way beyond me. We're just growing so fast. We've pretty much been doubling year over year, and we hope to continue on that growth rate. We are pretty heavily dominated in New England, and we're really trying to get into different geographies, New York, Chicago, out west. So we have a lot of room to grow there, and then also expanding our product line.
And speaking of growing, you started out in your parents' guest bedroom. You've had to move spaces now multiple times because you are growing so fast. What do you do here in this Alston space?
So in the Alston space, we have our headquarter team, so whether it's marketing, PR, operations, event planning, and then also customer service and fulfillment. So we have all of our products shipped to us in Alston. We unpack it here and then repack it to send it out to customers. I think because I started the business actually making everything, it's really important to me to be able to touch and feel everything, make sure it looks good before we send it out to our very loyal and wonderful customers. And we really care about our packaging. So we put our hats in dust bags with great materials on who knit it, and information about the brand, so we care about what it looks like when you actually do the whole unboxing ritual.
Your mom is involved, and not in the traditional sense. Her title is Chief Mom Officer, which I love. What does she do for you?
So my mom taught me how to knit. She's really the one who got me into knitting as a 10-year-old. And she also was my first unpaid employee. Through all the years, she's been my #1 cheerleader and supporter. Both my parents have been incredibly supportive. She's always down to help me out, so she is the Chief Mom Officer.
And Boston has been a welcoming community for Christina's expanding business.
I grew up in the Boston area, so it made sense to stick around here. I love it here. The Boston community really rallies around their founders and their businesses, and they're so supportive. So the experience has been amazing. We are really born on Instagram. It's how I started. There's no barrier to entry there. I was able to create a handle and show photos of my work and connect with the community, whether they were in New England or they're in Nebraska or San Francisco or Japan. So it allowed us to grow a lot faster in that regard. And since we are mostly an online business, about 70% of our sales come directly to our website, it made sense to continue growing, in a digital way.
So when people think of stick, they mostly think of your hats, but there's actually a lot more going on here. So what do we have?
Yes, so we do have our hats with our pom-poms, our faux fur pom-poms that are removable and interchangeable in different colors.
And that's super easy to do, and you do have some fun colors.
Yes, we have some fun colors, our mommy and me, and then our pom-poms come in different colors.
Cute.
We have our mittens, we have our sort of spring-summer collection, we have our ponchos and our wraps, which are great for a summer night, wedding, and then of course our earrings, which we launched last summer. They're all hand crocheted.
And what's incredible about seeing this stuff is knowing the journey it takes to get here.
Yes, it comes from a far way away and takes a really long time to make, as our hats are all hand knit. Our earrings are made down in Peru, our wraps are made there, all by our team, so it's really special to have it all up here in Boston.
It's time now to go around New England for a look at some of the area's most Instagram-worthy locations. Here in Boston, you won't find a more picturesque photo op than historic Acorn Street. With its classic cobblestones, the simple one-block road that dates back to 1823 makes its claim to fame as the world's most photographed street. It may look like a simple fishing shack in the harbor of Rockport, but it's known as the most painted building in the world. Given the title Motif #1 by a local artist, the New England icon even had a cameo in Finding Nemo. Just south of Bar Harbor, Acadia National Park is a photographer's dream. From coastal cliffside overlooks to scenic mountain views, you'll fill up your Instafeed with breathtaking snapshots at every turn. Right near the oft-photographed Quechee Gorge, known as Vermont's Little Grand Canyon, is one of the Green Mountain State's over 100 covered bridges. The Quechee Bridge is as New England as they come, with a stunning view above the White River. For more notable places to explore around New England, visit cbsboston.com/New England Living. And coming up next, Smith & Wollensky Executive Chef Matt King joins me in the test kitchen to show us how to make a restaurant-worthy scallop dish you can create at home. Welcome back to New England Living. Up next, Executive Chef Matt King cooks up the perfect scallops. Smith & Wollensky is one of America's premier steakhouses with locations across the country. From their famous 24-ounce bone-in ribeye to the porterhouse for two, their steaks are all hand-butchered and dry-aged on-site to ensure the very best quality meats. And the man in charge of overseeing it all is none other than Boston native and executive chef Matt King, who pays as much attention to his customers as he does his kitchen. Because for Matt and his team, service and experience are two of the most important ingredients. And yeah, of course, the steak. I'm here at the Clark Sub-Zero and Wolf Test Kitchen, and I'm joined now by Chef Matt King. Chef, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So you are with Smith & Wollensky, and you're typically known for your steak, but
We
today we're doing something a little different.
Absolutely. We have, some of the best steaks in the world, but we also serve some amazing, beautiful seafood. We're going to work with some local scallops today from New Bedford. This is a U10 dry sea scallop, so it's a nice, plump, large scallop. Not packed in a lot of water, not soaked in anything, so really great and sweet. They should look plump and juicy, and have a nice, clean aroma to them.
So what do we have right here? You laid some stuff out for us.
Yeah, we're going to start off by making some garlic butter, or a compound butter, which is a great trick for you to have in the fridge at home. You can use it, we're going to use it in this dish, but you can use it for so many different things at home. Great for finishing vegetables or anything.
So can you tell us what the ingredients are that you laid out?
Absolutely. So we have some softened butter.
Okay.
We've got a little bit of lemon zest.
Yeah.
A little lemon juice, some parsley, and then a roasted garlic puree. So I just roasted cloves of garlic and then just pureed them for us.
Now, is there anything that we need to know about selecting scallops? The size of them, does that come into play? Does that make them taste a little different?
So you have a short season that you have bay scallops available, which are really, really sweet and great, but it's a very short season that they're available. So really what you want to do from then is look for something like this, which is a U10, which just basically refers to there being under 10 per pound. So that's the sizing of it.
And you're from New England, so I imagine this played a part in you knowing how to cook scallops so well.
It's been something I've kind of grown up with and seen over the years quite a bit. So we're going to season these with a little bit of salt and pepper on both sides. And then we're going to take our cast iron pan here.
And what is that?
It's a little bit of oil.
Okay.
You need to have a nice hot pan when you're cooking scallops, right? So what we want to do is we want to get a really nice sear on the bottom of those, nice color, really good caramelization. We're going to add to this a little bit of confit bacon.
Yum.
So what I've done is taken bacon and we've just kind of slow cooked it in its own fat and let it get a little bit softer in texture. We're going to add that to this pan and let that crisp while the scallops are cooking. All right, so we can see these are starting to kind of change color coming up the side here.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is flip that over.
Wow.
And then we're going to turn the heat down a little bit. We're going to add this preserved lemon, a nice healthy amount of garlic butter.
Okay.
The trick now is we're going to let this bread sop up some of that garlic butter. We're gonna get a nice toasted outside. We've got our preserved lemon that's kind of caramelizing in there a little bit. So we're gonna add a little bit of chopped parsley to it. And the important thing is you really want to do this all in one pan because that garlic butter now has taken on some of the scallop flavor, some of the bacon flavor, the preserved lemon flavor. So you really want to get all of that on the bread.
So this has been on for about 6 minutes, so It's time to plate it.
Time to plate it, right? So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fish this nice piece of garlic bread out. Me
Yum.
personally, I like to use a long kind of skinny plate for this. I just think it, elongates the entire dish.
And any tips for the plating here for those at home, how to make this look just like you did?
So you want to think of the bread almost like a crouton for this. So the idea is, you cooked it in there, so it's also sopping up all of these flavors, right? And then we're gonna go right over the
Yeah,
top
don't forget about the good stuff. It's still in the
with the
pan.
good stuff. And we'll bring it over and give it a taste.
And voila, it's done.
The only thing I'm gonna add is just a little bit of herbs to the top of it.
I didn't think it was possible, but now it looks even better.
Gonna give it a little taste.
I would love to. Come on, get on there,
you go.
bacon.
Yeah, the
There
bacon's
we
biting
go.
me.
There are just a million
just-
different flavors going on right now.
There's so many different flavors, but yet so simple at the same time.
Chef Matt, thank you so much for being here today and for giving us the recipe, which you can find on our website at cbsboston.com/New England Living. It was a blast. Come back
Thank you.
soon, please.
Absolutely.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on New England Living. For more on the show or anything you've seen here today, visit us at cbsboston.com/New England Living and follow us on social media. And don't forget to check out the latest edition of New England Living magazine on newsstands now. I'm Rachel Holt. See you next time on New England Living.